And we are live with another episode of the Comedians of Entre Nos. What's going on, Orlando? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. They shut everything back down, baby. I love it when they shut it down. Yo, let them know.
Yeah, I know they get excited about the shutdown. Why are you
Yeah,
excited?
because I want people to get better, man. I want
Yeah,
people to get better, and I know, man. I know there's a lot of struggle, and people need to work, and there's money, man. But it's like the thing is that I'm not like one of those dudes that's like, oh, I haven't heard of anybody who hasn't had it. I
right.
have close friends and now recently family members that have it. So now I'm like,
Right.
all right, this ain't like, and then
It's
you
not a
have to,
joke.
not a joke, man. And then it's like as simple as, just wear a mask.
Yeah,
Just wear a
yeah.
mask. Okay.
It's
You
gotten
know?
crazy where people are thinking the mask stands for something else. I'm like, it just let's be safe.
And like I tell you,
Before,
people tell me like, oh, what is it? Yeah, you're listening. I go, listen, I'm not a doctor. So I have to
right.
listen to a doctor. So a
Yeah,
doctor's telling me this will help. I'm gonna do my part, man. I'm good,
right.
man.
Before we dive into today's episode, big shout out to one of our own, Gina Brion, just gave birth.
Yes, she did.
Little baby Jaden, her and her husband were blessed with a little boy. She did
Yeah,
it during this whole shutdown. She was nervous about it, but
yeah.
sending her a lot of love and positivity. If you guys don't know Gina, go watch her right now. Her half hour is streaming on HBO Max. Easily Offended. She's super funny. So yeah, just sending her positive thoughts, man.
Well, man, that's awesome. I got so happy because she was done. We had her on a couple of other episodes, and she was just like, I'm done. I think one of the episodes she didn't even make it to like 30 minutes with us. She was like, I'm done, bro.
Yeah,
What?
tired. Yeah.
I'm done with this. I
Uh,
got other things to do, like give birth.
Exactly. So I'm excited, man. We got a very special guest for today's episode. Man, I don't even know where to begin. This dude has a resume that comedians would only dream about. Comedy albums, comedy specials on HBO, Comedy
Yeah.
Central had his own show,
Hmm.
Mind of Mencia.
Yeah.
Guys, you guys know him. Give it up for Carlos Mencia, everybody.
What's up,
What's up,
buddy?
guys? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Thank you. Welcome to the show, buddy. Really appreciate you.
Appreciate it,
Or the
appreciate it.
hangout. This is more like a hangout.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
By the way, just if anybody wants to see on Instagram, I did this thing on wearing masks, and yesterday I posted something on my YouTube channel
There you go.
about
Yeah.
wearing masks. So yeah, just some. I personally, dude, I don't understand how this makes me not free and this makes me free. I don't get it. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me, bro. I don't understand people that are fighting for this right. I don't
Right.
get it. I don't understand it. And here's my thing. You're going to bitch and complain, right? You're going to go to a store and be like, let me in. They're going to say no. And you're going to be like, well, fuck you. I'm an American. I have rights. I could do whatever I want. Then you're going to get in your car, put on your seatbelt, obey the laws, not speed in traffic, put on your blinker. Like, bitch, look at all the stuff you have to do. This is one little thing for a little while. It's like, but on the other hand, it is what makes America at times,
Yeah.
right? At times, so much better than any other country. Because look at this is why America ends up doing things that other countries just dream of doing, good and bad.
Mhm.
Because we're like that, dude. Because, in China, they're like, hey, you got to put on a mask. Everybody wears a mask. In Europe, you want to wear a mask? Most people want to wear a mask. In
Yeah.
America, 30% people don't want to wear a mask.
You have
Those are the people.
Yeah. That's what's awesome, that you have the option to die. You have the option to get sick if
Well,
you
that's
want.
the thing. That was the whole point. It's like, if you want to die, go for it. But
That's what's being an American, and I get it. I
yeah,
get it. But
well,
I'm gonna wear
yeah,
my mask.
But we're crazy, dude. That's why we not only invent things, we reinvent things. You know what I mean? We're always trying to make, like, what's the difference between TikTok and Vine? 10 seconds? I mean, seriously, dude. What was the difference between Vine and Instagram at one point? Nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, this is what America does, bro. there's always somebody that tries to make whatever it is a little better, even though it's great. Yeah. Facebook is just a better version of MySpace. MySpace is just a better version of Friendster. Friendster was just a better version of texting. It's like it's always these little incremental moments, and that's why we're great. But with that, right, with that attitude of, I mean, think about it. You're an immigrant, bro. Your family lives somewhere else, and I don't know if they came here like my family. My family had no family here, nobody. And my uncle came and he said, I don't give a shit. I'm leaving everything I've ever known, and I'm going to America, and I'm gonna make it, dude. He's an Indio from the Central America, bro. Not educated, didn't go to school, and this fucker thought that he could make it big in America. Like that was his thought, bro. My father literally was like, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna make it, and everybody gonna come to me. And it's like, who the fuck are you? Like, this is the mentality that creates such great things, but on the opposite end of that, it kills people when you're so stuck in it that you don't want to wear a mask. And that's legit, bro. That's like totally legit. People,
but I wouldn't change it. You know, like you said, that's the great thing about living in America, because I see videos of where I came from in Dominican Republic, and they were like, when they were trying to do the whole thing, hey, everybody stay in your house. There's footage of cops driving by, and if you were outside hanging out, they would beat you with a stick till you got inside your house. There was nothing, hey, can you please, here's a ticket, a citation. They were beating people over the head to get out. Some people in China, I saw them actually welding their doors shut. Yeah. Like, no, you're not coming. Yeah, so that's the good thing. We all have choice.
Dude, in China, they track everybody's phones. So if you left the house with your phone, they would come and be like, hey, why did you leave? Or who left? Because the phone walked out of the house. Yeah. That's how much control the government has over there. Here, it's like, why are you doing this to me? It's like, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cover your face. My bad. My bad. Go ahead, do whatever you're doing. It's a whole different vibe, bro. It's what makes us great most of the time. But like anything great, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, to use an analogy of baseball, bro, you pitch 100 miles an hour, you're gonna strike most people out. But the dude that puts his bat on that ball is probably gonna be a home run if he connects even decent. It's
you're
the same thing on the other
end. Yep.
What do most players who are home run hitters have in common? They strike out way more than dudes who have better batting averages, who hit a lot more singles and doubles, but not home runs. That's it right there, right? That's that little movement. Like, where do you want to be in this? And so we're America, I think, is like Barry Bonds did, just trying to hit a home run every goddamn time up, no matter what period in the story. And most other countries are like a dude named Rod Carew, who is just a hitting machine back in the day, bro. So you live by the sword, you die by the sword, puppy. That's how it is, dude.
Hey, Carlos, I do gotta ask you. I believe you're
ask me anything, dog. Nothing is off limits.
I believe you're at 32 years in comedy, right? You got 32
going on
years?
33.
33?
Going on 33.
And how is it to be off the road? Because we all know you are a worker bee, man. How is it to be? When was the last time you were on stage? Well, actually.
So here's what happened with me. I pretty much averaged for my career 400 shows a year. 50, probably 50.2 or 50.3 weeks a year from when I started doing stand-up, like every week, right? So even though I was doing mine in Mencia, I might not have gone on the road, but I would go to the Laugh Factory, the Improv, the Comedy Store, and do spots there. I never stopped. This is the longest time I've been off a stage, period, end of story. It was easy though, because I had no control, none. So when it started, I was like, this is the way it is. I have no control. There's nothing I can do about it. Just stay. And then in June, for 3 weeks in a row, ironically, I performed first in Florida, then in Texas, and then in Arizona. And each one of those weekends that I performed, I told those people, you guys are fucking crazy, and they're going to close your state down real soon, because I saw what was going to happen, dude. I saw people come to my show, kind of social distance, no masks, laughing their asses off. I could literally see people in the front row laughing hard and their spit landing on the stage. And I'm just like, this can't go on. There's no way that this is going to go on. This cannot be. But what I did was, see, what I wanted to do, I knew it was going to be like that, bro. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to record like a show, a special, but not clean, right? Like a dirty special that you could tell was dingy at the comedy clubs. Here's my problem. So the first show Thursday was in West Palm Beach, Florida. It was awesome, right? It was a perfect show, an hour and 25 minutes, all new material written from March until then, all about COVID, right? Everything about COVID, staying home, you know, all that kind of stuff. Everything was COVID-19 related. Well, what I learned really quickly was, as funny as that material was, it didn't have any balls, because when Black Lives Matter kicked in, that's the only thing anybody gave a shit about. That's it.
Right.
Nothing else was important. So doing a joke about being home, doing a joke about how my kids or my wife or all that kind of stuff, or, you know, the levels, like everybody who lives with a woman or a man or whatever, if you live with somebody, it doesn't matter. We all went through the same phases, right? At first, all love, and then a little bit of annoyance. And then you went through a phase of hating everything about everybody you live with. And then you went through the phase of like, is somebody breathing around me? Why are you goddamn breathing? And then you're lucky you got past that. And now you're in a really good place where you can communicate, where if you're about to get pissed off, you can say to your loved one, hey, I'm going to get mad right now. Let me walk. Let me go take a walk. Let me go pass away. So all of those things I was talking about, and it was funny, but it was just like cotton candy, right? So I immediately realized, God damn it, I can't record this. This is too just fucking, it's candy. It's not, it's funny, but it doesn't have any teeth. It doesn't have any soul. So then I started talking about COVID-19 a little bit, mixed in with a lot of the Black Lives Matter stuff. And then I never got a good balance for the rest of the week in Miami. And then what happened in Miami was, because of the protests, we had to cancel all the late night shows literally the day of. So I had a show at, first of all, the shows were at 8 and 10:30. Then they got moved to 6 and 8. Then they got moved to 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Then they got moved back to 6 and 8. And then on Friday at 5:30, we had a phone call saying there's a curfew at 9 o'clock. I'm like, we can't obey that curfew. I got an 8:30 show. Even if I went on in the beginning and did a half hour, that's not enough.
Right.
So we had to cancel that show. The next day, cancel. So I never got a rhythm for it. When I went the next weekend to San Antonio, that was a good rhythm. That was a really good rhythm. I really enjoyed the material, but I realized that I was really, really edgy on stage, and the audiences that came out are the crazy people. I mean, you know, like if I literally told these people, like there's a bit that I put out on a bit of Mencia, and it's actually about how Texans are crazy. How I told them, like, what the fuck are you doing here? You people are crazy. Like, nobody is funny enough worth dying for. Like, I love me. I think I'm funny, but I'm not worth taking a risk. What is wrong with you people? So what happened was, that show, those shows that I did that weekend, in my opinion, were a little edgy. They had language that everybody laughed at the time. But looking back, I'm like, you know what? I don't know. It might be too much for the average person, because those crowds were just so crazy. that they would laugh at anything. They didn't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They were happy to be out, and they're also crazy, like you said, a little bit off.
Yeah, but they're just the fact that they're there, they're crazy. So I thought, like I dropped some N-bombs on there that, look, I don't use them gratuitously, and they serve a purpose. But I also realized that, like, is it better? Because I had one more week in Phoenix, so I go, maybe I should just do the same material but smooth it out a little bit, right? So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. When I did this, when I talked about, I do this joke about COVID-19 and how I like that they call it COVID-19, because when they call it the coronavirus, it just feels like it came from, Mexico or Latin America, and it's just that's not what it is. The fact that calling it the Chinese virus, that's not racist. Most viruses come from the place, like Ebola is named after where it came from. The West Nile virus is where it came from. The Zika virus is where it came from. The Spanish flu is where it came from. So to call it the Chinese virus, for me, is like, it's been done. It's not that big of a deal. It's just how to categorize it. And I do all this. So toward the end of the bit, I talk about how nobody wants to talk about the fact that a Chinese guy fucked the bat, right? And, everybody goes, he didn't fuck a bat. And I'm like, he fucked the bat. And then I say, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but the fact that the audience kind of went, oh, I don't know about fucking a bat. I go, oh, but when AIDS came around, everybody believed that a black guy fucked a monkey. I don't know if you remember being that age, but when that came out, dude, and people were like, oh, dude, where did it come from? Oh, black dude fucked the monkey, right? So in the joke, I say, nigga fucked the monkey, and I dance around and everybody believed it. That joke has nothing to do with today. It has to do with the way people spoke about it back in the day. But I looked at that bit and I went, do I really want to sit down and defend that bit? Like, is that what you know what I mean? Because I know people are going to be like, why did you use the N-word? And I got to say, that wasn't me using the N-word. That was me in 1980 doing an impression of all the fuckers that with impunity said, yes, AIDS came around because a black guy in Africa fucked a monkey. It felt like, maybe I shouldn't do it. So then the next week, I did it the way I thought I wanted to do it. But then I felt like it didn't have enough balls. So now I'm putting out most of the bits that I'm putting out right now are and they're gonna be a special within the next few weeks or so. But right now I'm putting out little bits. So tomorrow there'll be a bit of Mencia. It's probably gonna be about this COVID thing, like part 3, because I've done 2 versions and now this will be the 3rd version of it. And then I'll put it out there. And I think I'm gonna do the version where I did the N-word, because I'd rather defend something that is going to offend people than pussy out and not say what I really wanted to say. And that joke to me is really about like how insensitive we are to black people or to others. Like, dude, every single time that I've gone to the Washington, D.C. area, not Baltimore because they have their own team, but whenever I'm in D.C. or in Fairfax, Virginia, or anything like that, I would always do jokes about how they don't care about Native Americans.
Right.
And somebody else would be like, yeah, we do. And I said, no, you don't. You have the Washington Redskins. And by the way, that's the only team until now, the Washington Redskins, that is the negative nomenclature that you can still say on TV, right? So you can't say beaner, you can't say spit, you can't say fag, you can't say cunt, you can't say nigger on TV, right? No matter what the context is, you're going to have to say the C word or the N word. But the Redskins, even today, is still like, you turn on the news and they'll say Redskins are changing their names. Like, they can still say it, is my point. Which to me was like, guys, we don't care about Native Americans. Look, to me, the world is so simple if you don't complicate it, right? The 2 people that we fucked over in this country, right? 2 people that we really fucked over the most, Native Americans and black people, right? African Americans, Native Americans. When we took their land, the other ones we enslaved. Who are the poorest people in this country? Native Americans and black people. That's, to me, that's just simple. Like, no matter, you could say, well, let me tell you about the laws and the thing. It's like, it's really simple, bro. Just cause and effect.
Let me ask you, man, because you've been doing comedy 30 plus years. Like, do you find that the PC culture is sort of hindering comedy? Because I feel like you and like there's very few guys that'll still stand by a bitch, that'll still speak your mind while everyone else is walking. Everyone else finds themselves walking on eggshells because they don't want to be canceled. They don't want to offend anybody. And I feel like you're still one of those guys that still speaks his mind. And we need people like you to sort of push those boundaries, or else, like you said, you'll lose the balls in comedy.
Yeah, well, you know what? I don't think it's ever changed. I think I think that for some comedians, it's gotten harder because they just wanted to do a joke, whatever that joke was, right? About black people or Latinos or whatever the joke was. It's irrelevant. The joke didn't really have meaning. It was more about using those words, right? For me, that's not what it's about. Like the joke that I just described to you, where, you know, I say, oh, nigga, fuck the monkey. The whole point of using the N-word in that bit is to take you back to a time where that's what people said.
Right.
And the fact that they used that word to say it was even more denigrating. So when I want to do jokes about stuff that are real, I want it to be real, but I want it to be real, rooted in truth, so that people. All right, so there's two style of comedy people, right? Comedians and how we tell stories. Two basic types. The first type is the one that makes it seem like whatever they're doing, everybody does, and that's when you hear, I went to the store the other day. You know how when you go to the store and the dude behind the counter and you're feeling like, so that storytelling is more about that comedian trying to say, we all do this. This is a part of who we are. Then there's the guys like me. When I tell stories about what happened to me. So I'm not going to say, you know, when you go to a store and you see an old lady, my story is going to be, I went, like if you're from LA, I'd be like, I went to the Ralph's on the corner of Zelza and Ventura. And somebody would be like, oh my God, I don't know where that is. Well, that's where I was, and this fucking lady. And because Keenan Wayans told me a really long time ago, he said, when you tell stories and you say how, you know, how when you, and if somebody doesn't like relate to what you're saying, they're not in the joke anymore. You excluded them because you're saying we all do this, and they're going, well, I don't do that. On the other hand, if you say I was at a store and I did this and this happened to me, people are gonna laugh with you or maybe at you, but more people are gonna laugh because you're not putting that thing in front of them and saying you're like me. You're just saying I'm me. Let me tell you what happened, and they find the humor in it however they want to find the humor. So I'm the latter type, you know what I mean? I tell stories about stuff that happened to me, people that I encountered, people that I meet, you know what I mean? Places that I go. So, you know, when you see me perform in a city that I've been to before, I'm always going to talk about places around there where things happen so that people from there go, oh my God, I've been there. Oh my God, that's real. That's true. But excuse me, it's all about me. It's all about my stories, my point of view. And with that perspective, I think it changes because, like I said, I've been alive long enough to go, hey, that's how people talk. And if you want me to pretend that that's not how they talk, I can't, because the whole point of what I'm saying.
Carlos,
is
when you're in that Carlos, when you're in that situation though, and you know that you're doing the joke, but they're not getting the joke, meaning they're laughing at it for the wrong reason. And you're trying to be like, no,
There
I'm
is
giving
no
you.
wrong reason in that perspective. No, there is no wrong reason because
There is. I
even if they're
believe there's a
laughing
wrong
at it-
reason if they're laughing. If they're laughing because it's like, yeah, I agree. It was because those people were having sex with the monkeys, and they
Yeah,
agree with
but if
it
somebody, but if
100%.
no, I get it. First of all, I don't think those type of people really come to my shows, but if they do, they're more laughing at themselves at that moment than anything else. They might not be aware of it, but I'm making fun of them. I'm making fun of the fact that that's how they thought, that's what they felt, that's what they believed. And so if they want to look past that's on them. But the one thing that I've learned in doing stand-up comedy is let me get this real quick. Hold on, guys. Don't worry, guys, I got you.
This is the first on the live. We're so live. He's taking a phone call, y'all.
No, I've taken
Yeah,
bathroom
exactly,
breaks.
dude. Exactly. No, listen, I'm really sorry, but what happened was, and I can show you if you want. It's disgusting, but I just what do you say? Dirty water just started coming out of my my shower.
Oh,
So
wow.
my wife called the plumber, so they're coming. So if I got,
So we're getting a new house.
I'll do that.
You're
No
getting a new house.
What is that?
No, it's been here forever, dude. But I got like some damage in it now. So I told you, bro.
Yeah.
I bought all kinds of houses, but this one, it had everything I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But it's had a lot of shit go wrong with it, dude. A lot. It is what it is, dude.
Real quick.
Switching gears a little bit, and I know that, and then I'll let Eric ask you a question. There's something real interesting about you that a lot of people don't remember. And in my journeys into the Carlos Mencia journey, I found out, I believe it was in 1991, you won Star Search in Spanish.
What?
Buscando estrellas
For
con
Univision.
Budweiser.
With Univision. First of all, didn't know there was a Star Search in Spanish.
You didn't know that it was a Star Search in Spanish.
Yeah.
Need my plumber guy. My plumber guy. There he is.
There you
bro.
go.
I got you. We're still here. Come on over, bro. Yeah, you guys have never had an interview like this, guys.
We're gonna do it. It's like MTV Cribs.
He already
Yeah,
did that
it is.
too. He did that too.
So look, I'll show you, bro. See the damage? See the
Oh,
damage?
buddy.
See the damage?
You got
The water dude came down here, and it might be dirty water,
Yeah,
right?
you got a bathroom above here, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So let's go show you that. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. So buscando estrellas.
Yes.
Budweiser.
You did your set in Spanish. So
Yes,
I
I
was
did.
wondering, after having that experience, which is an amazing experience, have you considered doing a special in Spanish now that certain comics are starting to switch up
I
and
have.
start? Yeah.
Well, not a special, but an album. I did an album in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called Spanish. I don't remember. But the
Well, I know
problem
you did
was,
because when I first started doing comedy, one of the first albums I bought was your album, Spanglish, which was, I want to say, it was like 60-40. Like it was a lot in Spanish. So if you didn't speak Spanish, you were lost a lot. But I remember that was the first time I saw a comedy album where I was like, oh, snap, there's Spanish here and English.
yeah, but here's the thing about that. I did a version where it was all in Spanish.
Oh, wow.
The problem was, guys, that here was a problem. Jokes at the time in Spanish were literally jokes. You know what I mean? They were literally like, el hombre vino, la señora estaba acá, el viejo dijo esto. It was jokes. Literal
Right.
jokes.
Yeah.
And my stuff was not jokes. My stuff was point of view, storytelling, my mom, my dad, that kind of stuff. And so what ended up happening was I ended up offending a lot of Latinos. Specifically, like I did some shows in Acapulco in Spanish. Oh, bro. It was brutal. because instead of laughing like at my mom hitting me or something, like if I was gonna tell a story about how my mom beat me, they wouldn't even laugh. They would just be like, "Ay, Dios mío, cómo va a hablar de su mamá?" And I'm like, "It's a joke, man."
Yeah,
and by the way, she's the one that hit me. How
Yes,
am I the bad guy in this?
Yes,
How am I, like, I'm the bad. I got scars on my back from when she hit me. What are you talking about? It's only been, bro, recently, really, like in the past five years, maybe. A lot of it because of Netflix, where you can do some stuff in Spanish all the way and people get it. But you got to do it. See, but here's the problem. Here's the problem with Latinos in America, right? We all fight each other, right? African Americans are African Americans, right? And they all have this commonality. And that is why you have a guy, there are a bunch of DJs, right, who do morning shows. And they're syndicated, and you talk about it, and all African Americans know what happened on those shows. Latinos don't have that. Because if you're Mexican, you listen to Piolín. If you're Caribbean, you listen to Santos. If you're, you know what I mean? If you're Puerto Rican, you listen to Mambo, whatever. The point is that, you know, when we say Latino, it's not as uniting. African Americans are a united group of people. Latinos are Mexicans, Central Americans, way different than South Americans. Don't even talk about Brazilians, and don't mess with Argentinians because they're way better than the rest of us. And then we got the Dominicans who get confused for Puerto Ricans, but don't you puta, I'm not Puerto Rican, goddammit. And then you have the Cubans, and then you have the people that put the L's where the R's go instead of puerta, it's puerta, and then all of a sudden, so I'm doing a show in San Diego, right? And in San Diego, the show is like, no, pues mi mamá vino y me dijo esto y que pues y me pegó y pues ahí nos vamos, ¿no? And then I got to do that same show in Miami. So all of a sudden in Miami, like, oye, mira, es que mi mamá me pegó tanto, pero está loca, está vieja. I got to speak differently just to communicate, because we communicate differently. We have different accents, different styles, different words. I'm from Honduras, dude. In Honduras, the word coger means to have sex, right?
Yes.
Right. And we call the bus el bus.
And in the Dominican Republic, we call it the wawa.
The wawa, right. Yeah. So la wawa and coger means a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So when I write a joke about...
I remember to interrupt you, talking about the dialect. I've told this story a couple of times. Edie Chacon, when we were all kids, everybody remembers Edie.
I remember Edie Chacon.
Yeah, she was from Puerto Rico, and she went to Mexico, and in the front page of the Mexican newspaper, they go, Edie Chacon tremendo cuero, which means in Mexican, what a beautiful woman. In Puerto Rico, that means what a slutty McSlut.
Exactly. But
she was crying. She was like this.
Exactly. So my point is if you're an American or in America, and you're going to do jokes, right? You're going to do jokes about that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? Guess what's going to happen? You're going to end up, I'm going to go back to the office. You're going to end up putting your foot in your mouth or having to like talk to all kinds of different people from different parts of Latin America to find out, like, what does this mean in your country? What does that mean in your country? Like, you guys, and I don't know how it's connected. You could tell me, bro. But Dominicans, right? Let me leave the door open here just in case. There. It's open.
That toilet up there looks like it's one.
Okay. So Dominicans, you guys, when you guys forget a word in Spanish, right? Am I here? Hold on. Am I there?
You just muted out your video.
Hold on.
Yeah.
There it is. Boom. All right. So, Dominicans and Venezolanos, I don't know where the connection is, but you guys use the word vaina.
Esa vaina.
And it means whatever the fuck you want it to mean.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you want it to mean, bro. Like, dude, we used to have this mechanic growing up.
Grab the wax ready for you?
Yeah, no problem.
Right back around here.
Y por Dios, every single time we went, he would say to my dad, "Oh, esta vez es la vaina." After like the fourth time, I go, "Dad, he's fucking you, Dad. The same shit is wrong every goddamn time, Dad. And he goes, no, mijo, esta vaina es diferente. I'm like, how is it different? I don't understand. And then he explained to me that the word mina is kind of like whatchamacallit.
Yeah. It's the thing
in English.
Yeah.
So, but you got to learn
that
this
could
kind
be
of
a
stuff,
lug
right?
nut.
You got to learn, like Argentina. You got to learn that people from Argentina are literally the most racist Latinos out of all of us, right? Because why do we keep cycling in and out? Are we okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Or did we freeze?
No, it's
we're
the only issue is you're on your phone, so yours is a little bit more of a delay than Eric and I.
Are we back?
But we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good, man. You're in. You're live.
No. Oh, because my stuff is freezing. So and I have good connection. But anyway,
yeah,
you have to learn about this stuff. If I'm gonna do jokes about Argentina, right? Like, Argentina, inarguably, think they're better than all of us. They're the only they're the only Spanish-speaking country that didn't have sex with the help.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're like, look at it this way. If any of you guys ever watch soccer, football, Argentina is the only country where they speak Spanish. In Latin America, the Caribbean, North, Central America, never had a black person do stuff in Spanish. I really have to be in tune with, and it gets a little more difficult. So in order for us to translate.
Oh, we lost Carlos. Oh, you still there? There he goes. Carlos, you there?
Oh man, the things are going in and out. Are we good now? Oh, I can see you guys again.
Okay.
There we go. I wanted to switch gears here, man. You're one of those guys I feel like doesn't get enough credit for creating the Latin comedy scene. Like, every time you go to meetings and stuff, you hear the same names like George and Gabe. But I'm like, dude, your resume alone is ridiculous. Like you put out one of the greatest specials that I legit. When people ask me about comedy, I say go to YouTube and watch the Three Amigos. You, Pablo, and Freddie. And I will put I say hands down one of the best specials out there for people to watch if they're looking to do comedy.
That's funny that you say that, because for me, it's really interesting. I've had two specials that like really got good attention. No Strings Attached and the Three Amigos. And both of those, for me, were kind of like leftover material from previous specials that I didn't do. And those seem to just connect in a way that's some of the other stuff that I was really trying hard to make better. You just don't know, dude. I never would have thought that Titiri would have been anything. I mean, seriously? Right. Like, Titiri is just duh to the third power. It's just, you're an idiot. That's all it is. And for that to become like a phrase, you know what I mean? For me, it's just crazy. You don't know what to expect. You don't know when it's going to happen. And you're also never ready. The one thing that I try to teach young comedians is how to pace themselves, because inevitably, if you get successful, you're gonna get cancel culture or whatever it is, whatever they call it at that moment, political correctness, whatever it is. The minute you become successful, that stuff happens to you, and you have to be ready for it. And sometimes for Latinos, it's worse because a lot of people don't think that they have biases toward us, but it's out there, dude. It's out there. You know what I mean? And you got to be ready for it. And when you're not, it's tough. It's a tough thing to deal with.
I'm gonna piggyback on what you just said, because everybody, I feel like no strings attached with you at your height. Like, dude, San Antonio, it was an arena, it was crazy, it was sold out. You were Mind of Mencia, you were everywhere, right? And then at the drop of a hat, you went away,
right?
And it's so crazy to me that, all right, yeah, the accusations are out there about, stuff, but you're the only guy that I feel, and I don't want to say it's racism, but I can't say it's not, that's been canceled.
I'm in the same place you are, bro. Seriously.
And you were legit just put in a spot. Like, there's been accusations for people like Cat Williams, Robin Williams, who just passed away. He's a legend. Just numerous people, but you're the only one I know.
Amy Schumer, yes,
gone away for good, which blows my mind. Then no one's come out and be like, yo, like why did, number one, we elected one person to be the voice to cancel you?
Right.
I didn't nominate him, and you're gone.
Here's the thing about that stuff. Like, you're just not ready for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not ready for it, and it's tough to it's just tough to take in, because I grew up hood, where here's how it works when you come from the ghetto. When you come from the ghetto at first, everybody talks shit about your decision to go outside the box. Whatever that box is, you know what I mean? Whatever that box is, you're going outside the box. So when I said I'm going to be a comedian, that's going outside the box. That's going outside the box. So what did I get? I got what every motherfucker gets in the ghetto. Hey, Holmes, this motherfucker's going to be funny. He ain't never said nothing funny, man. You ain't fucking funny. You're fucking Mr. Comedian, right? Everybody said the same shit. Until 1991, when everybody saw me on Univision. It didn't matter that it was Univision. People in the hood, people in the barrio, they heard it. And from that point on, it was like, hey, Holmes, leave him alone. I thought the motherfucker's badass. Holmes, he represents this shit. It became, you become the hero, right? So at first, it's like, you can't make it. But once you do make it, it's all love. It's all, I got you. You need my car. Hey, bro, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm supposed to be doing a show in San Jose, California. But dude, I don't got a car. I can't drive up there. What, Holmes? You buy the weed and I'll drive, Holmes. Andale, pues, let's go. You know what I mean? It's that kind of love. So when Mind of Mencia came out and all the negativity started coming after that, I didn't understand it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Because I know something that maybe a lot of people don't know. And here's what it is. If you are a comedian and you don't like me and you think whatever you want of me, if I were to die right now, you're not going to get a phone call from NBC, ABC, CBS, Netflix saying, hey, Carlos died. You're next. It doesn't work that way in this business. You don't take things away from other people. What is yours is yours. That weekend, you're going to perform at whatever club. That weekend that you're going to do the concerts. That's all you, man. That's all you. And so it's been tough to deal with the shit that I did do wrong, right? Or at least the shit that people think I did wrong. You know, I came in. Look, here's what happened. I've been doing comedy since 1988. I started working at the Comedy Store the minute I started doing stand-up, pretty much. And so, dude, I was bumped for the first 12 years of my life. You know, hey, you're about to go on, Carlos. Oh, shit, Martin Lawrence showed up. All right, fuck it. You know what I mean? Oh, man, Damon Wayans showed up. And it was never, for me, it was never like, oh, it was always like, oh, my God, this is a test. Because when guys like that would show up, believe it or not, back in those days, the comics who were supposed to go on after them were like, yeah, I don't want to go on after them. So I was the idiot that was always like, I want to follow him. I remember when Richard Pryor came back and started doing stand-up. He was very frail. He could, they had to walk him on stage, but he still do stand-up. Dude, when they said he's coming in, I was like, I want to follow him. It was like, it was just some shit that I wanted to do. But the problem was by 2005, right, at the height of Mind of Mencia, those kids grew up different, bro. those kids were like, wait a minute, why is Carlos going on? I have a spot. I'm supposed to be on at 10. Why can't he wait for me to go on? I don't understand. And, you know, when I would go to a club, the managers would just come up and be like, you want to go on? Because that's the way it was. I did to everybody else what was done to me. What I didn't realize at the time was people changed. Times changed. These kids didn't grow up like I did, right?
Yeah.
I grew up having to work since I was 12 years old to buy my clothes for the rest of the year in the summer. That's what I had to do. I didn't have the luxury of saying, well, fuck that, Dad. What, are you going to send me to school in clothes with holes? Guess what? Yeah, the motherfucker sent me to school with holes in the clothes, bro. Because they, you know what I mean? It's like, you want to eat or you want to wear socks? Well, fine, I want to eat. Well, you're not going to wear socks.
And that different shift, talking, because it sounded like that shift was happening, because I kind of saw the shift from a distance of the comedy community when I was just watching comedy and going to the Miami Improv, where the what would be called now hazing was stopping. So all these years of hazing,
you know what's funny, dude?
And everybody, yes, hey, exactly. Yo, you got to pay your dues. All yes, that kind of like, yeah, like, all I'm that was stopping.
Finish the thought, bro.
Yeah.
This is what I feel like. I feel like I joined a fraternity, and dude, they made me drink. They made me get high. They made me do coke. They shoved a plunger up my ass, and I took it because that's part of the law.
Allegedly.
Plunger. Problem is, bro, when it came time for me to use the plunger, they were like, "Hey, you don't do that," and I was like, "No, this is what you do." And they were like, "No, you don't do that," and I just kept doing it. So finally, when a lot of these guys got the chance to say something good or bad about me, they were like, "Oh, you mean the guy that put a plunger in my ass? Yeah, let me tell you about that piece of shit." And that I do have to take responsibility for. And I can't look, part of me wants to be mad. I ain't gonna lie to you. Part of me wants to be mad. Part of me wants to say, "Oh, fuck that. They did it to me. Why can't I do it to you?" That's bullshit. But that's not how you grow as a human being. You have to change, man. You can't be that old man stuck in their old ways. And so I had to say to myself, like, all right, man, you know what? How would you have dealt with it today? And I would deal with it differently today. I wouldn't be mad about it. I'd probably make those comedians feel better. I'd probably do what I would do today is I'd go to a club, and if the manager is like, "Hey, you want to go on?" I would say, "I'll go on last. That way I don't bump anybody, if that's okay." Or, who am I going to bump? Let me go ask them if it's okay. Let me go say, "Hey, bro, do you have another set somewhere else that you got to go to?" You know, just to show, like, that I guess I respect them and whatever they do, which at the time, back in the day, it had nothing to do with anybody else, bro. It's just, I got to do a show on Thursday. I got to rehearse a monologue. So I'm going to go to the Comedy Store. I'm going to go to the Laugh Factory, and I'm going to go to the Improv to do this because I got to rehearse. That's my show. And they get to say, "Oh, Carlos is here," and I get to rehearse my stuff, and that's the way it is. I never went past this, bro. Never went past this. This was just go forward, do your thing, go. I had no idea what was going on around me. But that's life, bro. You know, the youth is wasted on the young, bro. It's not until you deal with adversity and negativity that you kind of realize, like, what kind of human being you are and who you want to be for the rest of your life. And look, man, you and I know a lot of comedians who were successful and then never got successful again, or lost it, or are angry, or are bitter, or their whole act is like, "I could have been somebody, but let me tell you why I'm not," and all the shit that fucked them over. Or you could go past that. You could look past that and grow as a comedian and as a human being. Be better. And I chose to evolve. But it hasn't been easy, bro. It's thousands of hours of therapy. It's, being introspective. It's being able to say, "No, I deserve the hate that I get from the people that think that I did them wrong, as far as like bumping them and going on long and doing that kind of shit. And was I doing it against them? No, I was doing it for me, but it was against them because they were the ones on the list. And so you have
also
to kind of be honest about that.
You also seem, because I saw you a couple of times at the Miami Improv. We never like really met. I don't have anything against you, and I don't have anything bad to say against you because I don't know you. So that's why that's always been my comment when they go, "Oh, you know Carlos." I was like, I don't know him, and I'm good. And I kept them moving. But I was also a 30-year-old man when this was happening. But I also noticed something about you that I was doing myself, was that I would do my set, say bye to Justin and Melissa, and go home.
Yeah.
I got to go to work the next day. I don't have time to hang out at the bar on the other side of the bar, outside of the showroom, and just hang out. I love you guys. I'm happy that you guys have this amount of free time, but I got to go. You know, and I believe
you at least said bye, bro. I didn't even say bye. I just fucking left, bro.
Yeah, and that's
who thinks I'm nice? The guy who used to park cars at the Comedy Store. Ask him about me. He'll tell you, dude, that guy came in here and gave me a big tip, you know, just to watch his car. Just why? Because he didn't make any money. He's some young comedian that they got parking cars in the back. He wasn't a valet, you know, but I wanted to take care of him. Like, those were the guys that I'd be like, cool. But other comedians, you know, it was just, it was, like I said, bro, I wouldn't even say bye. I was just, you know, but here's the thing.
That's so funny.
But
that's so funny that
personally, bro.
It wasn't nothing.
Like, if you don't say bye to me, whatever, dude. Like, I have friends that I don't talk to for 2 years. Literally, 2 years. And 2 years later, like, you want to play golf? Yeah. And we get on the golf course, dude. You would never know we haven't talked in 2 years.
Oh, yeah. It's so funny that comics take offense to that. You're not saying bye. Dude, I started comedy in New York. You do your set and you're gone. And where'd you go? All right, I think you left. You got another spot. All right, cool. Like, bye was never a thing. And then I moved to LA, and it was like, oh, you're making fun of me. Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so aggressive? And, you can say bye, and then there was a thing. And I was like, weird.
It's a different environment, bro. It's a big different environment. But at the end of the day, you gotta see, look, here's what a lot of people don't understand about comedians. We're very insecure. Most of us. Really insecure. We go up on stage because we need that laugh. We need people to like us. We need people to, and so, you know, when I'm on stage, when any comedian is on stage, he is the writer, actor, director, producer. He is everything to that. When you get it, when there's a microphone and an empty stage and you get on it and you make people laugh so hard that they cheer and applaud for you, you created that shit out of nothing. That sense of ego is huge, but there's this insecurity that I never had on that level, because the shittiest part of every single time I've ever performed for me is the awkwardness of trying to tell a joke after being on stage for an hour and a half, 2 hours of making people laugh, and then trying to find a closer. It's like, wait, after an hour and a half of me making, I gotta prove to you that I'm good with the final joke? Like, go fuck yourself. And it's also weird for me to ask for applause at the end of shows. You know what I mean? It's like, we get it. You laughed. I had a great time. Let's go home. You know, this whole like, hey, well, that's my show. It just feels so fucking awkward to me, bro, that I realized I'm not the average comedian in that respect. I don't go on stage to look for acknowledgement or anything like that. I go on stage because I want to make you laugh, and hopefully in the car on the way home, somebody in that car is going to say, yo, man, that joke that Carlos told was funny. And then somebody else is going to say, yeah, but I don't know if I agree with it. And then they have a serious conversation about a joke that I told because it connected with them in a real way. Like, to me, that is what I want to do. I want to change the world one show at a time, one person at a time, make them see things that they might not want to see. Like, dude, you know what the hardest part? Remember I told you the second week when I was doing stuff about Black Lives Matter? You want me to tell you the hardest part about doing those shows was? I've almost done all those jokes from way before. Dude, if you watch my first HBO special, when I talk about the riots in Los Angeles, some of those jokes literally applied to the shit that was happening during the Black Lives Matter movement after Floyd. Like literally the same exact jokes applied to some of that stuff. And so for me, it was almost like, fuck, this all feels so familiar. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like I'm creating a moment. It feels like, well, I kind of wanted to just go on stage and go, all right, so I've recorded all these bits throughout the history of my comedy career. And with regard to George Floyd, let's put a moment. Here's a joke. And then there's a joke about me getting pulled over by the cops in 1995 and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, I've already done all these jokes. So it's kind of tough to get to that place where I was feeling like I was being creative and not going to the old stuff, even though it applied to the new stuff. So I kind of had to like figure out a way to reinvent it for myself, because I was kind of like, well, yeah, of course they treat us like that. We've been talking about this shit forever. You know what I mean? Yeah. 50 years ago, Richard Pryor did a joke where he was like, the cop asked me for my ID, and he's like, I'm reaching for my wallet. That's 50 years ago. I mean, we've been doing this shit forever. So that was the hardest part, is like, I've been doing this so long. I've been talking about these things for so long, and I was ahead of the curve for so long that now that it caught up, I'm almost like, okay, everything I've said before. It just felt weird, dude. It felt
Carlos,
weird. But I found the balance.
Carlos, who are some of the comics that used to go on the road with you, opening up for you back in the day?
Okay, so
and have any of them have major success now?
All right, so Pablo Francisco is one. Freddie Soto is another one. Cristela Alonso is another one. Steve Trevino is another one. Bobby Lee is another one. Brad Williams is another one. Joe Coy is another one. So, look,
that's
man,
a great tree. That's some good branches right there. Those are some really talented branches.
All of those guys, except for Joe Coy, I picked them out when they were really, really young comics, and I just wanted to help them be funny. I just wanted to help them grow. That's why one of the knocks on me from some of my openers is that I never paid them enough, and they feel disrespected. But I've always told my openers, as soon as I meet them, opening for me, you're not going to make money. I'm not going to pay you, because that's not what this is about. I'm going to give you the opportunity to be great, to get great. As a matter of fact, I would tell my like opening acts, I would say this to them sometimes. If you do a joke that I've heard before, I'm going to kick you off the road, because I would see them like get funnier and funnier and funnier. They would take stuff, from me and incorporate it into their acts to get funnier and funnier and funnier. And then once they got really funny and they started getting really good laughs, they kept doing those same jokes. And my thing was, that's not what you're here for. If you already know that joke is funny, move on and tell another joke. My shows are shows that you're supposed to experiment on. And I would even tell them, I would rather see you bomb doing new shit than kill again doing the same shit that you already know works. Why would you do that stuff? Learn. And
it paid off, because it paid off. Those advice. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? When you're a comedian, just like when you're a kid, right? Some of you, if you have more than one kid, one of your kids, you say, hey man, you can do it. You're amazing. You're the best. Just try your hardest. Work out. And then your other kid, you got to be like, really? You really think you can do that? You're telling me that you're going to do that. Okay, let's see you do that. They get inspired differently. I only inspired at the time in one way. So some of the comics that you can talk to them and they'll say, he was amazing, he was great. And others will say, he didn't pay me enough, fuck him. But whatever they say, they're all fucking funny as shit. And Joe Coy was different in the sense that Joe Coy was already funny, but nobody knew who he was. So with Joe Coy, I in 2006, when I did the Punisher tour, I said, I want to introduce you to the world. I want to introduce you to everybody, you know what I mean? So that the world can see you. And I brought him on the road, man. And you know what? It worked because what I did was I had comedy clubs help promote the shows because I had relationships with all the comedy clubs. So I would be like, hey, let's just help promote the shows. And then, you know, we'll do like one nighter here or there at your clubs, and I'll keep coming to the clubs. But what happened was the club owners or the managers would come to my shows and they would see, you know, Christella, they would see Joe Coy just ripping it up. And, you know, it wasn't long after that, you know, he ended up doing, God, what was the first thing he started doing, Joe Coy? It was that show on E with what's her name?
Kelsey Lately, yeah.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I've always wanted to give back to young comics. I've always wanted to find, dude, Cristela Alonso as an example. You know how I discovered her? I was at the Addison Improv. I looked down, there's a piece of paper with some jokes written on it. And I was like, who wrote these jokes? These are actually really good jokes. And the premises were interesting. And I went, who? And they go, Cristela. And I said, does she work here? And they're like, yeah, she works the phones. I'm like, but she's a comedian? And they're like, yeah. So I said, can she open for me tonight? I want to see her perform. Oh, you know who I forgot? My God, I can't believe I forgot. Josh Blue. There's another dude that, and here's the thing about Josh. Josh will tell you this. When Josh won Last Comic Standing, I remember going to the show and he said, I got this in the bag, Carlos. And I was like, why do you think that? He goes, all these comedians are scared because they've never performed in a theater before. Dude, we've been doing theaters forever, dude. This feels like home to me. You got me ready for this moment. And he killed it and he won. And so, you know, that I love that. And quietly, because if you give to charity and your whole thing is I give to charity, fuck you, dude. Then it's not about who you gave it to. Yeah. You just want me to think that you're a good person because of that. That's not it. Just there's one thing I want to do. It's not time to do it, but I want to do it before I die. I want to have either I want to fake my death, which I know that can't happen. But what I want to have, I want to be eulogized while I'm alive, right? Not roasted, because then it turns into stupid jokes as opposed to like legitimate stories the way it used to be. Now it's just about who could write the craziest, edgiest joke. But yeah, no problem. But back in the days, it was slightly different. So what I want is I want to know what people are going to say about me truthfully when I die. But I know that I'm not going to hear it if I die. So I want to have kind of like a eulogy funeral before I die so that I can hear all of these people who are going to say whatever they're going to say about me, because you know then it's going to be a lot of real honest shit on both sides. And that would be interesting for me. It's weird, right? It's a weird thing, but
I understand. My good buddy Nick Guerra would probably say that you loaned him your truck so he could move and you didn't hesitate to lend it to him. Buddy Nick Guerra.
Oh no, dude, when you have a truck, just deal with it. By the way, for anybody out there, do not buy a pickup truck unless you're willing to move all your goddamn friends whenever, always. And by the way, most of the time you're going to have to fucking drive yourself because they can't drive the truck, or they'll say, yeah, I'll drive, bro, but I've never driven anything this big. It's like, well, okay, well, shit, now I got to drive my own goddamn truck for you. But there's nothing you could do about it, bro. I have moved every single one of my friends. I think to date, I have moved shit for my friends to a public storage 38 times in the past 15 years. Yeah.
You're a better man than me.
You're a better man.
Yeah.
Not me, bro.
Dude, it is what it is, bro. You know, it is what it is, bro.
So let me ask you, man. I know you're working on the special now that you shot at the clubs and you're still trying to fix that. But what would you like to see next in your career? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, like I'm a fan. I saw you at the peak. I would like to see you get back up there. So what would you like to see for you?
You know what's funny, dude? You go through these phases, right? As a human being, you know, at one point I felt indestructible. And then after mine of Mencia and all the accusations, I lost not my confidence. It's hard to really pinpoint it, except I'll say it like this. Before all that stuff happened, all I ever thought was, I want to say this on stage, that shit is funny. After, there was always like a little tiny thought of like, ooh, should you do that? Oh, is that too edgy? Oh, maybe you shouldn't say that. Oh, maybe if you say this, it's going to instigate this. Maybe you don't want to go there. Like there's always like a tiny little seed, a droplet of doubt in my head of like, should I do that? Is this right? And it was little. It's fucking tiny. It was only till recently, guys, within the past year or so, that I remember I went to I was talking to my therapist and I said, you know what, man? I miss that kid. I miss the guy who just knew, period. I just knew when I wrote a joke. I knew when I told a joke. I knew when I fucked up. I massaged it. But there was no doubts, not even tiny. And so in the past yearish or so, I've gotten that back where, like I said, right, I used some language in that weekend that I thought maybe it's a little extreme, but I still used it. And then the next week I didn't use the language and I went back and I went, no, I'm going to use the one where I did the language because that's fucking funny. I still have the ability to go to those places. So what do I expect in the future? Here's the one thing I know. I know that there are very few comedians out there right now that can do the stuff that I can do. As far as like, I can talk about Black Lives Matter and be relevant and come from a position or point of view that a lot of people can't, you know, because I'm not white, even though I'm not black, I can connect, you know what I mean? And so I also have the ability to make shit funny that a lot of people like, dude, you have like, I record pretty much all my shows and you'd be surprised if you listen, you can literally hear people almost every single show go, oh my God, I can't fucking believe I'm laughing at this. Like they're just blown away at the fact that they're like, I shouldn't be laughing, but God, this is funny and it's true. That stuff has never left me. And so right now, at this very moment, America needs this voice, right? It needs comedians to talk about real shit. It needs comedians because we're the ones that can do stuff like that. You know what I mean? We can talk about Black Lives Matter and then say, like, I could do a joke in front of all black people and do Black Lives Matter and how the cops treat us, and then look at the black audience and go, but goddamn, black people, you gotta stop killing each other. What the fuck? And they will laugh at that because there's a way to do it. There's a way to show it. There's a way to put it in there. There's a way for us. That's what comedy is, you know? It's a wink, it's a nod, it's I'm just kidding, but it's true, It's all that shit that today we don't have because everybody is told what they want to hear instead of what is. You know what I mean? The people that wear masks, they're listening to the people that say wear masks, and the people that don't wear masks, they're listening to the people that say you don't gotta wear a fucking mask. You know, there's a truth in there somewhere. You know what I mean? So like yesterday, I did a video where I pretended that I understood why I shouldn't wear a mask. And I went through basically all of the reasons that people give for not wearing a mask. So I was like, yeah, man, you ain't got to wear a mask because, and then I'd be like, what? They proved that's wrong? Oh, so kids can get it? And they go, oh, shit, well, I didn't know. And then I just kept going and going. That's the kind of stuff that, you know, we can do right now. Edgy comedians, right. The Chris Rocks of the world, the Chappelles of the world, the Me's of the world, you know, back in the day, Carlins of the world, you know, Richard Pryor, who were able to not just be funny, but really put like the truth into the funny. I mean, and at the time, right? It's so important what we do. Like, I was thinking about this the other day, and I got a question for you guys, right? Think about what's happening in the Black community and the Black Lives Matter and how people are speaking of African Americans and all this stuff. If Bigger, was it Bigger and Blacker or no, Bring the Pain. That was a Chris Rock, Bring the Pain. Mm-hmm. To me, at the time, there was nothing that I thought was more important than when he said, I love Black people, I hate niggas. Mm-hmm. And I was curious, could he do that bit today with Black Lives Matter being so prevalent? And would he do that joke today? That's the question, guys. I'm really curious.
Everything is out there, man. Everything is out there. Everybody's pushing it all the way to the limit. Do you think he would do it today, though? Do you think he would do that joke today? I think Chris Rock will do it today.
Because
now wait, are you talking about Chris Rock who's established right now doing that joke now, or are you talking about a young Chris Rock coming up? I don't think he could. I think where he is now, the status he has. Like you've got the resume. Chris Rock has the resume. Chappelle have the resume where if somebody goes, oh, I don't like that, you guys can go, well, screw that. I know it works. I've been doing it 30-something years. If you're talking about a young Chris Rock, couple years in, no resume, I don't think you can. I think you get scared off of being canceled. You run away.
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? That joke today would mean something completely different than it meant back then. That joke today would mean, yeah, Black Lives Matter, but all those people that say all lives matter are right too, because Black people are killing Black people, and those are the motherfuckers I don't like. And that's so contrary to the Black Lives Matter movement. It would be really interesting to see what would happen if that bit was told today and the negative ramifications of it. Because as a Latino comedian, right, I want to tell stories about how I grew up. But it's what you were saying earlier, and in this case, it applies. It's a double-edged sword, papi. Because they might be laughing at my culture. Mm-hmm. You know, so I go to Miami and I do a show and I'm talking about La Chancleta and my mom and my dad and, you know, how they speak and their accents and all this stuff, and people are laughing. That feels good in Miami. That feels amazing in Miami. But next weekend, I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. Are they laughing?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you laughing at? You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to stop and go, yeah, I understand why this shit was really funny in Miami, but you motherfuckers are laughing a little too hard at this shit. I feel like there are moments where as a Latino, you're like, are they going, holy shit, I can't believe these people are like that? Or are they going, oh my God, my mom's kind of the same, or my dad's the same, even though there's a different accent. You know, you just don't know. It's tough sometimes because we gotta, as minorities, we still have to represent, even if we don't want to. You still have to represent your people. You're still a representative. If I say like the guy from Goya, you know what I mean? Dude, you're a Latino and you're representing a bunch of other Latinos, bro. You can't just go to where you want to go because you're still Latino. It's who we are, bro. So
it's who we are. And with him, I honestly feel like, hey, he was 100% right when he said, I have, freedom of speech is granted to me, and I can do whatever I want, and I'm good with that. And I have freedom of speech where I don't have to. I can talk about Goya and not buy your product. So that's the beautiful thing. The good thing is,
my whole thing was this with him, and I said, dude, I'm gonna put this out because it's gonna be part of the special. Mm-hmm. people ask me all the time, would you go to the White House if the president asked you to do? And I would say, fuck yeah. I would never disrespect the presidency. If the president of the United States of America, whoever it is, asked me to go to the White House, if Trump asked me to go to the White House, I would go to the White House. The difference is I wouldn't suck his dick like Kanye did or like the Goya guy did. That's the difference. You know what I mean? I would say to him or anybody, if they say, what do you think about Trump? I would say, you know what? It's not my job. History will decide what kind of president he was. I am here because I respect the presidency. That's why I'm here. And I will never disrespect that. As far as he is concerned, I'm sure he will be judged by the next election, or he'll be judged in the future when he's compared to other presidents, when he's inevitably compared to Ronald Reagan or compared to whoever, Clinton, whoever it is, or from the past, Hamiltons or whoever they are. But at this point, but I wouldn't be there going, oh, he is the greatest ever and he is the best for Latinos, and get the fuck out of here. No.
He's given me all the tax breaks my company needed because we are the sickest, richest.
Here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing, Goya guy. We buy your fucking products. Let's just get that shit out of the way. I don't think you're selling a lot of sazon in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So don't fucking tell me, dude. Don't know. That's bullshit. It's like you said. You know who buys your shit, dude. And by the way, I didn't know that he was from Spain. And when I did, I almost was like, there it is. Okay. He's not really one of us. He's not one of us. All right? So for anybody listening that doesn't understand the difference, here's the difference. People from Spain are just white people that speak Spanish. They're European white people that speak Spanish. That is all they are. He probably, listen, and I think I know the story, but he started with spices to make paella, which is authentically a Spanish dish from Spain. The problem is when he started, when he started fucking putting habichuelas in his shit, it's like, hey, bro, now you're in our territory. Now this is about us, bro. Now you're doing frijoles. Now you're doing arroz con gandules. Now you're in my territory, bro. And, when you have a guy or a president that, says I treat everybody the same, then you're like, oh, well, that's good. But then, you hear him say, well, the Confederate flag is about freedom. Hey, whoa, no, dude, no, listen. I'm not black, but I got a sign upstairs in my attic. And and it's from 1962, San Antonio, Texas. You know what the sign says, bro? No Mexicans or niggers allowed inside. So I know. We're sitting here right now in 2020 going, a lot of comedians got accused of stealing shit, Carlos. You're the only one that people hate the way they hate, and 10 years later, they're still doing it. Why? And there's a lot of answers, but one of them is, I'm a little darker than all the rest of these fuckers. Like, it's you got to deal with reality with this stuff. So, with regard to the Goya guy, he's really not one of us. He's a businessman. Now he saw his true colors. And you know what? Thank God that America is what it is. Because when they started doing really well, McCormick, I think is the name of the brand, started doing a lot of Latino stuff too. So you can now go and, ironically, because Goya was so successful, that a lot of other companies are like, well, shit, we're going to sell that stuff. So because Goya did well, we can actually buy all the products from a competitor, if that's who you want to be, because Goya's not the only product in town anymore. Now, had he said this shit 25, 30 years ago, Papi, we would have just had to fucking bite our tongue and go eat some Goya, because there was nothing else for us to buy, bro. That's all we had, Papi. That's all we had. But today we got options, bro. We got options.
Dude, I feel like we could talk to you forever, man, but we're going to start rapping here. Dude, again, I can't thank you enough for coming on, man. We're big fans, and I hate that everything that happened to you, but I love to hear that you're in therapy, you're coming back, and dude, it's a matter of time before we see you back up top again.
I think things are changing. No, before you jump in it, because this is the time where we got to give you your flowers. You get me? Like DJ, like Noriega likes to say. Before that, I wanna. It is like we're living in a different time, and this is why it was it's so beautiful that you came on our show, because it's like we're living in a time where people are starting to figure out that united we can get further. You were a guy that had your blinders on, like you said, you had your blinders, and you were worried about your ultimate goal, and that goal. People forget that you're also a family man. You're a husband. You're a father. You know, you have your son. Plus, you got and being the true Latino that you are, you also have a long line of people that you have to take care of behind you. You know what I'm saying? All the way back home.
18.
Huh?
I'm the 17th born of 18 kids.
And everybody's getting a check.
You know how it is when you're an immigrant Latino and you make it, dude. Bro, it's like I got ropes hanging from everywhere, dude. And my familia is coming up, dog, just coming up. And you know, that's what we do, man. That's what we do.
So I think times are changing. I think times are changing. I think over the next few years, you're gonna, because you're still out there and you're doing it at a high level. You're selling out back-to-back weekends. I've seen you stay in cities for 2 weeks in a row. I was like, that's not even civilized. But whatever. You know? Go home. Just go home. You know?
It's what I tell you, bro. Changing the world, dog. Changing the world.
It's changing, and the community's changing. The Latinx community, the Latino community, the Latinx community, I repeat it again, is changing. Everybody's embracing.
When you were there, dude, like it felt like everyone was so separated. That's why me and Orlando do these things. We trying to show that sense of unity. Like you said, we're all different.
That energy has shifted where there can only be one. There can only be one, and I'm cool. And you know, there can only be Carlos. I gotta knock Carlos down because he's doing theaters, and I want to do theaters, and it's all right. I can get my own theaters eventually if I just put in the work. But man, thank you for everything.
Dude, of course, all of us can do it, dude. Yeah. Paul can sell out. George can sell out. I can sell out. Gabriel can sell out. Dude, as long as your voice is your voice and your thing, you can sell out. You can do great.
We're in a different time.
I can find this Latino guy forever.
Yeah. We're in a different time. I think times are changing. And I can't wait to see the other side of your story, the second half that's gonna start coming. And man, I can't wait till you put on your producer hat too, just because of the long lineage of branches that are out there now, successful branches. That also speaks a lot about your producing eye. Like, oh, I see this and that. And maybe I will put you together, or maybe, I don't know if you met him, Edwin Licona. He's a grown man on TikTok. And that's a running joke that I got with
okay.
And I would love to see one day you put on your producer hat, and I would love to see Carlos Mencia presents.
We're gonna do some of that stuff. That stuff wasn't possible up until recently because nobody wants to touch you when you're toxic, and when the whole premise of what you do is you can't even write. It's very difficult to pitch stuff to people because in the back of their heads they're always like, you know what I mean? Well, wait, is this a guy we want to go with? Is this? Yeah. My whole thing is this, bro.
But I think also that, let me chime in real quick.
No, go ahead.
Also, is turning the corner, and thanks to people like Edwin Licona with the Entre Nos movement, because no one was paying attention to us. This Entre Nos thing that we're doing kind of came out of left field. And they left us alone, and we were like, oh, awesome. And there were people legit coming to me. When I did Entre Nos, there were people coming up to me. Yeah, but that's like Latino and stuff. Is that the way that you want to go? And I was just like, why wouldn't I go this way? I'm Latino. My act is in all English. and he's
Right.
just he. You know, there's certain places inside baseball where you go to do your special, and they tell you, "Yeah, I gotta see it before I give it to you." And he was just like,
Right.
"Yo, you want 30 minutes? There you go." He didn't need to see my material. He just believed on what he saw in the clubs and let me go. And I'm forever grateful. And that's why I said it's a perfect time for stuff like this, because now we're making a little noise. And because we said, you know what, this is the lane you want us to play in, we'll keep on playing in this lane and giving you great numbers. And that's all thanks to, I give a lot of credit to Edwin Licona, a grown man that's on TikTok.
Well, listen, guys, to end it like this, I up until recently wasn't ready for the next wave of success. And what I mean by that is there was a lot of resentment and anger toward the comedy world. And what I worked on was I didn't want to be the comedian that had a show, went away, came back, and then when he came back, he said, "Fuck everybody, you didn't believe in me," that kind of shit. I wanted to be able to achieve the next level of success with a sense of stability, growth, humanity, humility, and not hate anybody, but just come out with pure joy and the love of what I do for a living. And I'm in that place now. Thank God. I'm in such a great place when it comes to that. So I'm finally ready. And until you're actually ready for success, you're not going to get it, because God, the world, the universe, whatever you think, it's listening. It's there for you. And when you're ready, it gives you an opportunity. And when you're not, you think you're ready, but you're not. And so it's only been a little bit. And I said I'm ready, and then all of a sudden, I'm doing a voice again for the Proud Family for Disney. So we just started doing that. And then they asked me, "Do you have any ideas for cartoons?" And I was like, "What?" I just did my fucking future board like a week ago, and I'm like, it's already coming true.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for it without negativity, So
Without negativity. And I want to point one more thing out. One more thing out about you. And that's why I say giving you your flowers. You've had a lot of shots fired at you online. A lot of shots have been fired on you. And I've never seen
in the history of comedy.
And I've never seen. See, even there, you want to be number one, but relax. But even then, okay? You have never, and I know you're laughing, but I want you.
Fucking right, dude.
Yeah. But
right.
I want you to listen to this. You have never fired back. And that's why it's coming back around to good things happening for you. So congratulations. I'm happy about, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm just happy you're getting those voiceovers and stuff. And to produce something, you don't need to be the face of it. And I know a lot of people would come out for you if you put on your producer hat and be like, "Look, I want to do this for you. I want to open this small door for you."
Oh, Eric, man. They weren't ready, bro. They weren't ready, but I'm ready, man.
Dude, tell everyone where they can find you.
Just everything is at Carlos Mencia or / Carlos Mencia. So everything.
Make sure you catch them every week.
I'm not on TikTok because Chinese people are stealing your identity, so I'm not gonna give it to them. Not gonna TikTok, motherfucker. No.
Catch him every week on YouTube. He drops a bit of Mencia, dude. I've been highly entertained by them, and dude, we definitely got to get you back on. So I'll definitely reach out and we make this happen again. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you guys for watching.